Welcome to another Deranged Airsoft episode. This is Deranged Professor speaking in my normal format, and I'm going to be going over some troubleshooting issues with the PTS Masada and the hop-up slash feeding, BB feeding issues that a lot of people run into. So this is a lot of airsoft owners out there who have owned the Masada for a while have kind of figured out a lot of the hop-up issues with this gun. However, those who are new, I pretty much on a routinely basis get several questions on why aren't my babies feeding in my PTS Masada? And it could be lots of different issues. And the Masada has plenty of issues on its own with this system because of the special type of hop-up system that it uses. So I'm going to walk through what I do to figure out a BB issue. And I haven't had too many, but this seems to have worked with all the rest of the issues that I've had so far. And seems to help a few other people also. So first off, whenever I get looking at the mag here, whenever I get a BB feeding issue, the first place I look is at the mag itself. I always think that okay, maybe there may be some dirt. Best thing to do is to do what we call the BB feed test. So what I do is I load the entire magazine full of BBs all the way, completely all the way full. And then I release the BB release here, and I let them all spray out. And I watch how the BBs react when I release it. And best not to release it aiming down, because that doesn't give you a good representation of what's happening, or to the side. You want the mag to be facing straight up when you push that release button up here. And what you're looking for is you're looking for the BBs to just blast out as fast as they possibly can. That means that the spring and everything inside the tracks, they're all clean and everything is working the way it should be. If you start having BBs and you pull this and they're just like barely like blop, 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 just barely trickling out, start with the mag first. What I do is I take the whole mag apart and I look at everything inside. Is there any dirt in the channels, any scuff marks? And then I clean the entire thing. And I also gently stretch the spring just a little bit and then reinstall the whole mag. And then I do the feed test again. If I still have that blop, 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 then it's the BBs. Try a different brand of BBs. Recently we had used, we've been like diehard fans of the Valken BBs, the .30s and .32s. But then recently we've been having a lot of issues with them, and they just plop, plop, plop. Seems with the lower grade, or the lower weight BBs, there's no problem. Like the .28s and lower, they just blast out just like they should. But anything higher, the .32s, the .3s, there's some film on them, and even after cleaning, they still would only do that. And that took away a lot of the issues that I had with the Masada at one point. So let's say you've done that test. Everything is clean inside, springs are slightly stretched, and the BBs are flowing through this excellent. There's blasting out the top when you release that channel, and it's been fully loaded. Next, what I like to do is I like to take the gearbox, or the Masada lower. Now, obviously, this one doesn't have a gearbox in it, but with the gearbox installed and make sure that the nozzle is retracted so the BBs can come up, I stick the mag in with a full round of BBs in this again. I put it into the mag, and I'm into the lower, and I make sure that the BBs blast out the top, just like they should. And you can always make sure, too, that maybe it's the mag not lining up either with the feed tube. So what you can do is just kind of look down your tube here. Let me see if we can see it, get it on camera here for you. I had it earlier. Where did we go? There we go. And you can see that orange follower right there, center of the BB feed tube. That means that this mag is in there and lined up straight. So if this was full of BBs, the BBs would just shoot right straight out the top there. And then I know for a fact that my mag is working and everything is lined up correctly and the BBs are flowing through this. The next step would then be to install the hop-up. Now the Masada uses what people say it's a two-piece hop-up, but it's really three pieces, because you have the BB feed tube that's already stuck here in the lower, then you have the chamber where the BB will rest, and then you have the bucking that's actually part of the barrel itself. So it's like a three-piece system. So if everything's working great in the mag, it's shooting through the mag, shooting through this feed tube, I install this trunnion that houses the chamber for the BB with the hop-up nub still in there. And then I just kind of, this obviously would be a gearbox in here. I would load the mag and see how the BBs react to this opening here. do they come up and stay stuck right inside of the tube in here? Or do they start flowing forward out into this like they normally should, or like they should if there was a barrel installed there? What you should see is you should see the BBs come up from the mag, through the tube, into this chamber, and then because the nozzle would be sitting back here towards the rear, the BBs then flow forward out this hole. If everything's working great, that's what should be happening. And that just allows you to know that everything in the path of the BB that the BB has to take is working correctly and flowing correctly. If you see a BB get stuck in here, take the trunnion off, take this chamber off, and then look inside. I actually had one where there was a small piece of dirt that had gotten in there and it would snag on a BB. And it caused some weird feeding issues. Where I'd get dry fire, and then it would, like, one would shoot, and then several shoot, and then one, and it would just kind of catch on a BB. So, and also, like, what I've done with many of these, this one has not been, but I sometimes will take a Dremel bit. They have these small little polishing bits, and I'll polish the inside of these chambers just to make sure everything is nice and smooth inside of there for the BB to take its path. As long as everything there is flowing great, then the next step I do is to install the hop-up chamber with the trunnion with the barrel. And it's just as simple as putting it in, lining it up, and cinching it down. And it's now cinched in there. Then you look down here to make sure that your rubber is not the problem. Let me see if I can get the light set up here for you. So this one's got a Mad Bull blue in it, and you can see, it's very hard to see, but you see that little tinge of blue right there at the lip? That's what you want to see. When you hold this straight, you should see no bucking there, just like that. And then as you turn it, you should see just the hint of it. That's what you want. If you see any bucking with it sitting in this position right now, straight and level with you, that's too long. The Masada, actually, you need to trim off every bucking that I've installed in the Masada on the rear portion of the bucking, not where the lips are up here, but on the rear portion of the bucking. You need to trim off about 1 to 2 millimeters of rubber and then slide it on, and it should sit in there right. If you have done that and you still see bucking here, then you need to trim the lips. And there's a good video that is online. I believe it's either the KP's page, the Honolulu Airsoft. Either they show how to do the bucking, or it's Rudy Hidalgo on Bingo, from Bingo, that shows how to kind of trim down your bucking a little bit using a Dremel and a drill bit or a drill to make sure that your bucking lips are sanded down just a little bit. But if just trimming off the back for the Mad Bull Blues has been enough for me. I have run into an issue with the Mad Bull Reds, and have had to shave down the lips a little bit also. But if this bucking is too long into this chamber, when you reinstall it into the gun, and we'll take the mag back out, but when you reinstall it into the gun, when BBs try to go up that tube right there, they actually catch on the lip of the bucking, and it won't feed into the gun, and you'll actually get like some misfeeds where you may get like 1 or 2 that'll go up nice and through, and then you get nothing for a certain amount. You just fire, and then all of a sudden one will break past the bucking and move up, and then you'll get another stream of BBs to shoot. It's very sporadic. You can even get pinch jams where the bucking lip will roll under the BB as it goes into the chamber, and then when it goes to fire, it actually pinches it in there and it seals into the barrel. And the only way to get that out is then to use an unjamming rod and push that back. It's a pain in the rear. And I have had that happen. So what I do is I make sure that you can do what they call a drop test. And that is where you actually take a BB and you put it down that hole, and it should drop down into the chamber nice and easy. No resistance at all. If you have any resistance and it gets caught there and you have to actually take a punch or something and just kind of like push it into the chamber, then you have a problem with the bucking. You need to look at the bucking and you need to figure out what part of it is too long. Is it the rear of the bucking or the lips where the BB enters? That is what's causing a lot of your problems. All right, the BB should just enter in very nice and easy through that drop test. If everything works correctly there, you put the mag in, BBs flow through your mag well. They go through the bucking or the BB arm here or tube up to the chamber, and they flow out this direction fine, and it passes the drop test, you should be fine. Those are your main issues that you run in with the PTS Masada, are those issues that something in this line is not clear. Either your mag, the BB, or the tube itself. You may have gotten dirt in the tube and you need to clean that out with a Q-tip, or you need to take your look at the hop-up chamber area. There may be dirt or debris in there, or the problem is actually the bucking itself. When you insert the barrel into this trunnion and the hop-up rubber may be too long, either sticking out front because you didn't trim the back end of it off, or that the lips themselves may be too long and they're causing a jam between this little section here from entering the BB tube. Let me get a pointer here so I can make sure I'm pointing at the right thing for you. From the BB tube into the hop-up chamber here. If all of those issues are fixed and correct, you shouldn't have any feeding issues. That is the way it works with this gun. And actually, this gun is pretty forgiving as far as BB or as far as bucking lips and things go, because this chamber here, if you can look, is a lot more open. Like this is all open here. Move the light here a little bit. Here, let me just do this. This will be easier. So this is all open on this back side here. So there, if there's a small variance, a lot of times the BB can actually slip past the bucking lip if a small portion of it is showing in this area. Because this is a lot larger of an area, the BB actually can come up and kind of slide back and in. However, when you start rapid firing, that's when you start running into issues and causing sometimes pinch jams and things like that. So hope this kind of helps those Masada owners out there who are trying to figure out some of their feeding issues as to what I do with our Masadas when I run into an issue. I first start at the mag and look at the mag and the BBs. If those are checking out fine, make sure that the alignment is working great and that it's flowing up through the tube and spraying out. If that works great, install the hop-up chamber and trunnion without the barrel. Make sure the BBs are now flowing out the front of the gun. Then check my hop-up rubber that's on the barrel itself. Make sure that I've trimmed the back of it off, and that I've also make sure that these lips, the lip here, is not sticking out into the back of the chamber here. And make sure and then I reassemble everything. Do a drop test with a BB. Drop test from inside. Make sure it falls down in there nice and easily. If it gets stuck, then it's like I need to look at that chamber and that hop-up rubber again. And then I test fire if everything's working great from that point on. So hopefully that helps. Maybe give you kind of like a stepping stone on how to look at your Masada and try to figure out or troubleshoot where your feeding issues are. So this has been Deranged Professor. I know it's been a little bit longer video, but hope it helps. And we hope to see you guys out on the field. Let us know what you think and see if any of these tips have helped you out in trying to troubleshoot your Masada. Deranged Professor, and we will see you guys later.